So Angelika is a member of our spiritual leadership team, and she is a student of metaphysics, psychology, and a course in miracles. She has applied the principles of body-mind healing in her own health journey with cancer and continues to love, share, and inspire others to do the same. So after we hear Valerie, please join me in welcoming Angelika.
Feed my faith, feed my faith, feed my faith, feed my faith. It's time and I have a date. It's time, I am so near. It's time I feed my faith. Through the narrow gate I appear. False evidence appearing real. I'm open and receptive to change. False evidence appearing real. What I choose to see in my range. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I starve will disappear. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I feed will stay right here. Faith, everything's alright. If I fail or I succeed, faith, everything's alright. I'll receive all I need. Fearless efforts are rewarding me now. Live my truth as I expand. Fearless efforts are rewarding me now. Using my mind and my hands. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I starve or disappear. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I feed will stay right here. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I starve will disappear. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I feed will stay right here. I'm feeling energetic and ready. Good things are happening with me. I'm feeling energetic and ready. Cause I choose how my life will be. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I starve will disappear. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I feed will stay right here. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I starve will disappear. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I feed will stay right here. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I starve will disappear. Feed my faith or feed my fear. That which I feed will stay right here. Feed my faith, 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 ready to feed my faith, feed my faith.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Good morning. I hope you see me. I can't see myself on the camera.
Yes, we can see you.
Oh, yay! Excellent. Good morning. It is such a pleasure to be here with you this last Sunday in January, focusing on faith and how we can move from that fear, constrictive place to expansion of faith. I just love these lyrics. Feed your faith. Have that for breakfast, that daily bread to feed that feeling that everything's all right. Angels are surrounding us. Thank you for that reminder, Delaney. I'm feeling energetic and ready. Good things are happening to me because I choose how my life will be. Today, we are going to explore ways that we can nourish our faith. We're going to address some of the things that hinder us in having a place living from faith and how to strengthen that muscle. Feeding my faith or feeding my fear, that which I starve will disappear. Feeding my faith or feed my fear, that which I feed will stay right here. And fearless efforts are rewarding me now. Words of wisdom. When we look at the definition of faith, we have our Unity founder Charles Filmer, who stated in his book Revealing Word, what is faith? It's the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. Faith is working in spiritual substance that can accomplish all things. This is the faith that cooperates with creative law, and when faith is exercised deep in spiritual consciousness, it finds its abode and under divine law without variation or disappointment. It brings results that seemingly are miraculous. And all of us who have had experiences where our faith was tested and then had a breakthrough, it does seem beyond what words can explain. Tell you a little story. There was a village and they had a terrible drought. So the people finally decided, let's pray for rain. And on the day of prayer, all the people gathered, and only one little boy showed up with an umbrella. That is faith. Charles Filmer stated in his book on prosperity, if we pray for rain, we should be sure that we have our umbrella with us. Otherwise, based on our Unity principles, principle number 5 is acting on our beliefs. And that is what faith will do. So have your umbrella ready when you pray for rain. It's said that for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind. Stated in 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. So what is it that keeps us from moving from fear to faith with more ease and grace? How can we develop our faith more? Consider that in the Bible, the word fear or the sentence, do not be afraid, is mentioned a whopping 365 times. Yes, one for every day of the year. And faith, or the variations of faith, appears in the NRSV, the Bible Unity Standard has been using for many years. Take a guess. Would it surprise you to hear? 524 times. Ever so much more focus on faith. And in Course of Miracles, that self-study book, based on a thought system built on love versus fear, it states that there are no neutral thoughts. Every thought we think actually releases a chemical into our bodies. So when we have happy thoughts, we are in love, we release oxytocin and dopamine, all those feel-good hormones that boost our immune system. But when we're afraid or angry or we go into that contraction, then we release adrenaline and cortisol that put us into fight or flight survival mode. No neutral thoughts. It's either based love or fear-based. Unity is based on 5 principles, and the third one states that our thoughts create our experiences. The choice is always ours. First, though, we have to become aware of it. This is one of my favorite movies with Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. If you believe the impossible, the incredible can come true. What touched me deeply about this movie is that he heard that guiding little message. He heard that voice. First, he didn't know where it was coming from. He tried to ignore it and such. But the message repeated until he acted on faith, in that little bit of faith that took him in the right direction. It said, build it and he will come. Now, was Kevin Costner, as the actor in that movie, afraid to act on that little message? Of course. It was telling him to plow down most of his crop, his cornfield, that was going to pay for his livelihood. He was risking to lose his home, his security. Neighbors, family were thinking he was crazy, and yet he had enough of that little faith to build it. And he did come. If you haven't seen that movie, highly recommend it. Here's a little story of my days as nanny. I was an early childhood educator and nanny for 15 years, worked with lots of little ones. And here's an experience of one of the toddlers eating a lemon for the first time, because our sensory experiences give us our rightful or not so rightful experience of the world. So here's this little toddler who I was a nanny for. And like most toddlers, very curious, one day he took his first bite of a lemon wedge. And what was the reaction? If you've seen it, yes, absolutely. He wrinkled his nose, he stuck out his tongue, he squeezed his eyes shut, and he said, sour! Because it is sour, right? And after, I'm thinking, oh, this is cute. let's remove that piece of fruit from him, and intending to toss it in the trash. And he fought me. No! Scampered across the kitchen to get away from me with that sour tasting lemon. He wanted more. He wanted more. His lips puckered with every juicy squirting bite. I winced when he finally handed me the rind and happily toddled away. I felt amazed. Lemons are so sour, but they're also amazingly sweet. But actually, nutritionally speaking, there's more sugary sweetness in a lemon than you can find in an orange. Well, which one do you prefer? There is a lot we can learn from this little story. Our taste buds accurately reflect my partiality of that sweet moment in life. It's never just one flavor. Bitter, sour, sweet, they all kind of blend together. Yet, we aim to avoid all things bitter and unpleasant and sour, don't we? And it reminds me of that Bible story of Job and Job's wife, who seem to have shared the aversion to the sourness of life. And if you can recall the story, Job, he surely didn't delight in hardship or trouble, yet he held on to his faith through heart-wrenching circumstances. So I'll just recap that story. He was a very well-off man in the land of Uz, and he was known as a blameless and upright man who prayed and did all the God-fearing things of the times. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He possessed 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen, 500 donkeys, and very many servants. And this man was one of the greatest of all the people known in the East. And then one day he received news, one after the other, that all his sheep were killed, all his camels were lost, all his oxen destroyed, all his donkeys killed. And out of the servants, only one out of each of the situations survived to tell him the bad news that he had lost it all. And then, on top of it, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house that his children were under, fell upon all his sons and daughters, and they all died except for the one servant that brought him the news. Can I relate to that feeling of being stripped of everything? He lost his business, his income, his servants, his children. I've lost a daughter, and it was devastating. Can you relate to this feeling of being stripped to next to nothing? Have you been there? Many of us might have feelings right now during this pandemic, so many losses to endure, loss of income, possessions, relationships, maybe not through death, but maybe separation, that loneliness. And it can feel natural to want to avoid the bitter bites in life. We can even be tempted to lash out at God when we're hurting like that. But what did Job do? Did he yell and scream and blame God? No, he did something remarkable. Job rose and tore his robe, shaved his head, fell on the ground, and worshipped God. Why did he do that? His faith was unshaken. An amazing response that he stated, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, the Lord has taken away, and blessed be the name of the Lord. He saw everything just as a gift that you have temporarily. He always remembered that everything comes from source first, himself included, and he held on to his faith. That gives me a lot to think about in the hardship, in the storms of life. Can we stay open to the abundance of the universe and sing praises? I will tell you about a life's trial that can teach us so much. It is said that out of every mess, a master emerges. There was a big mess in the life of a young woman named Karina. And she was diagnosed with stage 3 cervical cancer, and she was told that she needed an operation. They recommended laser surgery. And she felt so scared that this was going to be the end of her life. She was only 29. Her mother had died of cancer 17 years earlier at age 42. And she was afraid that she was walking in her mother's footsteps for an early demise. However, she was blessed to live in a community of people that were spiritually minded and prayed with and for her. And she had a medical doctor who was also a naturopathic doctor, and he prepared her with valuable information about the mind and body and emotional connections through teachings called German New Medicine. He taught her breathing exercises to keep her out of that fight or flight, in that rest and restore parasympathetic nervous system. And she was blessed to have new perspectives that were offered by spiritual teachers that said, consider that your body is not just going in for an operation, and it's not such a personal thing. Consider your body like a beautiful sports car that's going into the garage for a tune-up. And that helped a bit to have a different perspective on things. The challenge that she was having was lingering trauma from childhood sexual abuse that she was working on releasing. So she was seeing a counselor, and she didn't have much trust in men. And God, in her upbringing, being a male figure, she didn't have much trust in him either. What a mess. The cervix, being such a tender part of our anatomy, represents our ability to be vulnerable. And her doctor empowered Karina with the following recommendation. He said, take music into the operating room with headphones and listen to what you want to hear, rather than being re-traumatized by adults doing things to your body without your participation or consent. Well, that was a good plan, but the problem was that the hospital wouldn't allow a Walkman into the operating room. And there went her fragile lifeline, and Karina felt a bit powerless again. To make matters worse, the female gynecologist didn't want to honor her request to just have a local freezing instead of being put under narcosis. The anesthetic doctor was held up in another operating room with complications, and the doctor was about to give the injection into Karina's arm when a miracle happened. Against all odds, she was unable to find the blood vessel to give the injection. She poked around 3 times, and just like in baseball, there's a rule: 3 strikes and you're out. They couldn't keep going. There was nothing to do, so the nurse and the doctor decided, let's have a coffee break. And they turned off the light and left Karina in that cold operating room on that metal table, naked, covered with a sheet, while they went. to have coffee. And there she was, in the dark, in the cold, by herself. And in that place, in that time, a strange thing happened. She remembered that her mother, for 6 years, went in and out of hospitals, operations and procedure after operation and procedure. And she strangely felt a connection with her mom. She felt a warmth, a glow, a presence. And even though she hadn't felt her mother's love in 17 years, in that time and place, right there, in a dark, lonely, cold place, she felt her mother's love and embrace, and it calmed her down. She felt reassured, safe. For some, they might believe that if you feel something you can't see, that sounds a bit crazy. But I say that's called faith. And that was being restored in that time and place for Karina. During my years of grief counseling, I often hear people reporting over and over that the love they experience is everlasting, that it never goes away, even after their loved ones die. The love that we've shared continues on when we're open for it. And that flooded for Karina that day. She thought she had lost her mom because she was physically gone, but the love was right there. She felt the grace. And by the time the doctor and the nurse came back, half an hour had passed by and she didn't even realize. She told the anesthesia doctor that she wanted just a local freezing, and he hooked her up just to monitor her, and to his surprise, he said that her heart rate and her blood pressure were just like she was already under narcosis. So her wish came true. She was able to be part of the conversation, and the operation took place with just a local freezing. She felt so empowered to be part of a team surrounded by mighty companions on this earth and the universe beyond, and her mother, the angel that was still with her. And when the operation was complete, the anesthetist said that in all his years of medicine, he had never seen anything like it. It was like a miracle. She didn't even have to go through the recovery room. She could get dressed and walk out of that hospital right there and then. What a bittersweet, unforgettable experience. She gained new understanding. Now, I do believe in miracles orchestrated by divine intelligence, or what some call God. Understanding and faith are the powers behind realization, which restores and strengthens faith. So to close my little story, like Job, we don't have to enjoy suffering to learn to savor the unexpected sweetness of sour moments, the divine strengthening of our faith. With trust and faith, we can surrender more to the divine guidance available to help us to persevere through difficult times. And just to disclose, Karina was my middle name. I took it on for 3 years because I felt that Angelika, the name just implied that I had to be perfect, angel-like, never have any needs or vulnerability. And I learned that as Karina, I could be vulnerable and receive things and soften. And then I could give a new interpretation to the word Angelika. See, I was child number 6. My mother had 6 children under the age of 10 when she was just 29 years old. 29, the age I was when I gave birth to myself on that operating table. And now I have the interpretation that Angelika means angel-like, as in a messenger of God to help us remember our true nature. And in that regard, we are all angels to one another. Angels are truly here. That grace that can be accessed anytime to help us feed our faith. I love the idea that we can nourish and strengthen our faith by feeding it every day. When false evidence appears real, that no one can be trusted, With faith, everything turns out all right. We move from fear to faith with hope. Human hope expects an answer sometime in the future, but faith takes it as having already been given. Hope looks forward. Faith declares that it has been reached before there's even the slightest visible evidence. We choose our way to declare something done after it has become obvious to the senses. But God's way is to declare it's done before there's anything whatsoever inside. That is a statement from Emily Cady in her book, God at Present Help. So Emily Cady has written many books that we study in Unity. And one of them, How I Use Truth, states that your business is to stop, stand still, and proclaim, it is done. So it is. And when we do that, we enter into that God way of proclaiming. Because faith is the first of our God-given powers. We need to encourage it. We need to let it grow inside of us. And life's challenges, the storms, are what tests our muscles. Inside, to discover the power within, I unleash my divine potential because God is blessing me now with much faith. The tools that we have to do that, in Unity we recommend prayer, affirmative prayer, and affirmations. And prayer is the time we take to focus, to align ourselves in oneness with the divine and affirm that whatever we need is already ours. This is affirmative prayer. We practice this together by standing in the truth to move from fear to faith. In summary, all I need is just a little faith. It gets you where you're going. You can feed your faith. Know that the angels are here now. Hold your vision, your dream, your picture in place and walk towards it. Take a stand. And then ask and know you will receive. You can really have it all. I'm feeling energetic and ready. Good things are happening to me. I love these lyrics. When false evidence appears real, you can face everything all right. And with that, I invite you now to join me as we take it into meditation, followed by Delaney's beautiful music afterwards. Let us prepare for our integrating meditation by getting ourselves settled in a comfortable seated position. And if you want to, you can use a mantra, meaning a folding of your hands, where you fold all your fingers together, you place your left thumb over your right, and you put your pointer fingers together like a church steeple. This is a power mudra that we learned at Unity 2 years ago when a woman was teaching us how to have mudras. So this one is for faith. And when you're ready, close your eyes and take a deep breath in. I invite you now to join me in a meditation. For the next few minutes, let us turn our attention inward. To build positive new thought patterns to enable us to turn from fear to faith. Knowing that our internal dialogue and mental pictures have a definite effect on our bodies, let us now take that to our advantage. Make yourself comfortable in your chair and tense all your muscles as tight as you can. Tighter, even tighter. And now let go. Take a deep breath. Fill your body like a big balloon. And exhale. Take another deep breath, and as you exhale, begin to picture yourself in the most pleasant natural setting, natural surroundings, whatever is meaningful to you and where you feel safe. Now take another deep breath and then let go. Just let go. Let go of fear. Picture your fear as a black cloud that hovers over you, and you have a string that's holding it there. And now when you're ready, let the string go. See the dark cloud disappear, floating away. Watch it until it gets so small that you cannot see it anymore. And notice a feeling, a sense of release. And take another deep breath and let go of feelings such as anger, irritation, blame, guilt, sorrow, jealousy, feelings of tension. For these few moments, allow yourself to be totally at peace. There's no need to struggle, no reason that this needs to be hard work. It's only a thought you need to change. And I'm here to guide you. I have been through this before. I know. The dissolving thought patterns help to dissolve any dis-ease, discomfort in our bodies. Your breathing is now relaxing your whole body. No need for resistance. You are safe here. As your muscles relax more and more, any tension melting away, remember the power that created you provided you with enough breath to last you for as long as you live. Each time you take a breath, you don't have to think about your next breath. You can assume that it will be there for you. You can have faith and trust that it will be there. Now extend that faith and trust to areas in your life, in your body that need healing. Observe your breath going in and out of your body. Notice how effortless it moves. Your innate intelligence is breathing your body for you. And the intelligence within you is part of the one intelligence that created this entire planet. You are not lost or lonely or forgotten or rejected. You're not good enough or left outside the door. You are one with the very power that created you. And this power has given you the power to create your own experiences by using the power of your mind. Even though they think, every thought you think and every word you speak is creating your future. And we can now choose to use this power to create a wonderful new future for you. You are far more than just your body. You are pure consciousness. You are divine, magnificent expression of life. You are one with all of life. So let's take the best of all that you can remember to be the truth about yourself. A divine, magnificent expression of life. Reaffirm, I am willing to let go and be free. It is safe for me to do this. I affirm the willingness inside me to release the mental causes and patterns in my consciousness that created any negative conditions in my life, causing me to be afraid. I am willing to release the need for this condition in my body. I now allow it to disappear. fade away, to dissolve back into the nothingness from whence it came. Following your breath easily and effortlessly in and out, remembering all the times that you were challenged with fearful thoughts and you stood your ground, and your muscle of faith grew stronger and stronger. And in this place of time, standing still in the silence, right here, right now, you can keep growing that muscle of faith. And all is well. And so it is.
Gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet, to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand, that love and only love can join the trials of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything, anything, if we believe in the power. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Well, thank you, Angelika, for your message of wisdom and encouragement. We all need to hear that.